Good morning. Going to talk about most favored nation and national treatment. What are what is the meaning of most favored nation, why it is being used, and what are the core principle of both the topics. So coming to the most favored nation and national treatment both are the core principle of WTO under the topic non-discrimination. Non-discrimination is nothing but not discriminating one country with other country in terms of international trade. So there are different kind of core principle, there are different many. So going to talk a little bit about non-discrimination, reciprocity, transparency. So reciprocity is nothing but reciprocal type of treatment. The kind of treatment I'll give you back the same kind of treatment. If you give me something good, you get good. If you give me something bad, you get bad. That is in terms of international trade. Don't take it personal things. Okay, now so talking about most favored nation, what is most favored nation and how it is being used continuously. So it is a special kind of status awarded by one nation to another nation. So what is the use of giving a special status to one nation and giving a status to two different award? Like we always hear that Pakistan has got most favored nation status from India, and India should take it back. There is no good relation between India and Pakistan. So we will be dealing with all the topic. What is the use of being using of this kind of special treatment, and how it is being referred in, and how it is being treated in international trade. So as I told you that it is awarded by one nation to other nation for what? For trade advantage. So trade advantage is what? Okay, I am good in something, you are good in something. Okay, let's do business. For example, India is good in software, China is good in hardware. India sells software to China, China sells hardware to India. So it's like a comparative advantage theory where a country should work on those topics or work on those products where they are good in, so that their efficiency will be better and they will earn more from international trade. Okay, now MFN nation will not be treated worse than any other nation. What is the meaning of treating worse than any other nation? Like they will get the equal kind of treatment, and if you understand in simple language, they should get the equal kind of treatment by all the nations. Okay, and there will not be any kind of discrimination and reciprocity in this, that okay, if India gets a special kind of treatment from China, China has to get the same kind of treatment from India. So this is a kind of reciprocity. So generally when we understand that okay, most favored nation is giving some kind of special status to any special country, but it sounds like that, but that in real it is not the most favored nation. The real meaning of most favored nation is not to favoring any country especially. Okay, actually treating everyone equal. So this is the most favored nation. Concept wise, it is very easy to understand. The most favored nation meaning is not favoring any nation, especially giving equal kind of treatment to all the nations, and kind of reciprocity where we get kind of treatment, we will have to give the same kind of treatment back to the country. Now coming to the legal framework of most favored nation status. Legal framework, if we come to legal framework, GATT, General Agreement on Tariff and Trade, Article 1 talks about most favored nation, and in that GATT Article 1, it says that any country shall not impose higher standard than domestic products. Higher standard than domestic product meaning, I'll just tell you what is the meaning of higher standard of and domestic product. So higher standard is nothing but, see, if we eat a mango of particular quality, and if we are importing mango from USA, for example, we buy apple from USA. So let's take example of apple. We eat apple of some certain quality. There is some certain standards made by the departments of food and agriculture, the FSSAI and all. They work always for the giving the certain standards to food product. So that we cannot impose anything where something is better than us, but we say that no, this is not up to the mark, because we cannot. That is the meaning, essence of the Article 1 of GATT, that shall not be imposed higher standard than domestic product. So whatever our standard is, we cannot impose a higher standard. For example, if European people, they eat certain kind of apple, and their standard, we are not able to meet their standard, but America is able to meet their standard. So America, they can buy product from America, and they can reject product buying from India because we are not as per their standard. So because their country, the local standard is set like that, so we cannot go beyond that standard. So this is the basic essence of article 1 of GATT. Coming to the TRIPS is trade related aspect of intellectual property rights. Also talks about MFN treatment under Article 4. Make sure that whenever you write any kind of comment, any kind of essay, mention this kind of articles. So basically, I will suggest you go through the GATT article 1 to 5 and TRIPS article 1 to 5, because you will be getting a lot of important information and knowledge from these articles. So basically, MFN treatment also been spoken under the Article 4 of TRIPS agreement. TRIPS agreement, if you want, we can have a different video talking about trade related aspect of intellectual property rights. As of now, you just understand it is some agreement which is made with regard to the international intellectual property rights. Now there are certain kind of exceptions. There are actually many exceptions given under the this provision, but talking about little bit, it's a preferential treatment to the developing countries. Now we cannot meet each and every requirement of developed countries, so there one developing country can get a special kind of treatment by a developed country, so that the developing country will develop properly. Okay, so this is again talks about the equality, where everyone has to come on the same platform before doing the trade. So this the exception is one country can give a special treatment to the developing country in terms of their development. Then okay, now coming to UNCTAD 1964 also sought some kind of preferential treatment to developing country, as I told you. Then there can be a special treatment given. There can be certain discrimination done in terms of government procurement in terms of defense or anything which government buys and which is very critical for the country. In that there can be some kind of discrimination accepted. That is under the exception, and it's mentioned under article 3 8A. So this is the article which is mentioned. This is under GATT article. Now subsidies to domestic product. What is the meaning of subsidies to domestic product? There are some kind of endangered agricultural product or any cultural product or any painting, handicraft, anything, and you want to protect that particular thing, but they are not able to meet the requirement, or maybe they are not able to compete with the international product. Government or any some kind of discrimination, some kind of a special favor given to those kind of products where it is to preserve the culture or preserve the rights of some individual producer who is endangered. Now coming to some of the example where Cuba and North Korea, they are not favored by America. So America gives almost equal treatment to all the countries except Cuba and North Korea. Now in 1998, MFN renamed as a permanent national trade relation in America. So America generally, if you read any American book, any US author book, they don't use most favored nation word, they use permanent national trade relation. So this is as equal to most favored nation. Now Russia has given most favored nation status to Brazil, China, Turkey, Ecuador, Argentina, South Korea, India, and like these countries. India has given most favored nation to Bangladesh, Vietnam, Pakistan, and I spoke about Pakistan. And coming to the China has not given any MFN status to any of the country. So it's good when you don't give any national treatment or any most favored nation status. It means that you are equal to, you are looking everyone equally. Now there are some advantage of giving most favored nation, and not the essence of most favored nation gives a lot of advantage. So what is the advantage? It gives a larger market access. You can go and access any of the market because it is accepted under international trade. You can lower export cost due to the low tariff barrier. So export costs are very less due to the low tariff barrier. It makes the product competitive because you have access to entire world. You can go anywhere, buy the product, procure the product. So you have bigger market access. You use your brain and you can buy the product with intellectually, use your intellectual capacity, go buy something which is beneficial for you, and it increases the country's economic growth. Of course, this gives a kind of economic boost to the any nation. Sorry about that. Okay, so there are some disadvantage also. What is the disadvantage of most favored nation status? Most favored nation status disadvantage are more for the developing and underdeveloping country. Okay, so countries cannot protect their industries from cheaper goods produced by any other country. For example, if India, we manufacture some kind of plastic goods, but that plastic bottles, plastic goods, plastic toys are not compatible with, they are very low quality in terms when we compare the products coming from China in cheaper rate. So this is not good for the small industries, for any other countries where products are being produced and reaching country in better quality and in better rate, so that their local manufacturers, their rights are on toss. Coming to second point, so like some of the industry gets wiped by incoming product, as I told you that when the local cannot survive with the international standards, their quality will not be that good, they will die in the market, and they will look for some different kind of industry. And without tariff, some countries subsidies their domestic industries, allow them to export in cheaper rates. So as I told that if there is no tariff, some of the countries they reduce their price, especially China does, even India does sometime in agriculture products. They give subsidized food to subsidize the export to the exporters now in domestic industries, and allow them to export in cheaper rate. This is called dumping. So again, I will be talking about in my next video, dumping and anti-dumping. So what are the measures, dumping and anti-dumping? So let me know if you have any feedback. You please give me. I'm trying my best to give you a little bit information about this topic. Now, benefit of national treatment. What is the benefit of national treatment? National treatment benefit is it minimizes the transaction cost. It promotes further reciprocal liberalization and minimizes cost of trade negotiation. So what is this transaction cost minimization? So it reduces the cost of complete the total. There are a lot of brokers and all which will be removed, because countries are allowed to do trade with any other country directly, and then promote further reciprocal liberalization. Reciprocal liberalization, both are helping each other to, both the countries are helping each other to in terms of improving the trade and minimum cost to trade negotiation. Now there are some certain exceptions, as I told you, that government procurement, domestic subsidies, and some other thing. Now coming to the another topic, which is national treatment. So what is the national treatment according to you? What could be the national treatment? National treatment is like what you treat, how you treat your domestic industries in your country, like how you treat your domestic produce in your own country, how you treat your domestic produce sugar in your country, and you have to treat the same kind of you have to treat equally imported sugar in the country. Like once imported goods reach in your border, reach in your country, you have no right to discriminate those goods. Like government cannot make any kind of rule where government can say that okay, you should not buy Chinese product, you should not buy Japanese camera. There cannot be this kind of imposition by the government, because this is against the national treatment rule. So coming to the legal aspect of national treatment, Article 3 of TRIPS, trade related aspect of intellectual property rights, also Article 3 of GATT, General Agreement on Tariff and Trade, 1947. Article 17 of GATT also talks about national treatment. So what is national treatment? No less favorable treatment than their own domestic product. As I told you, your own domestic product give the same kind of treatment to the imported products also. Now, principle of international law. This is a principle of international law where you cannot go beyond, you have to follow the principles which is made by international law. Treaty and foreign treaty of treating your local product, treating local product and imported product equally. Now giving international minimum standards. I have already spoken about what is the minimum standards, and integral part of WTO. So these topics I'm going through. I'm just trying to give you that national treatment is not giving not protecting only your own goods, but giving same kind of treatment imported and exported both. Now where it improves, how can we talk about national treatment and how it is related to investment and how it is beneficial for the country? So foreign investors can invest only if they are given national treatment, they are treated equally, and their product or their investment is given the same kind of respect. Without talking about national treatment further, it's a not protection of any domestic product, no discrimination, promote trade liberalization, promote market conditions, and no difference in products imported and locally produced, and like products treatment. So like products, you give like treatment. If you know that okay, sugar has to give this kind of treatment. Nowadays India is importing sugar from Pakistan, and a lot of people talking about it, that why India is buying sugar from Pakistan. Now this is the thing, national treatment gives a right under international law that India can buy sugar. India can buy sugar. If that sugar came to India, you should not discriminate. You should not say that okay, I will not buy. Government cannot say that okay, the Pakistani sugar should not be sold in Indian market, because once it is imported, it has to get the national treatment according to WTO rules, and which I've already spoken about TRIPS Article 3 and GATT, everything. So make sure that you write about TRIPS, GATT whenever you are talking about national treatment and most favored nation. Remember also write the advantage whenever you have to talk about national treatment, most favored nation. Write the legal aspect, legality, where it is taken from, what is the definition, if you remember well and good. Then you come to what is the purpose, okay, and then you talk about what is the advantage and disadvantage, and then you give some examples of the nation. Okay, India has given this, and China has given this kind of nation treatment to other nations. So this will make your entire answer very comfortable, very effective and efficient. And do not try to drag same thing again and again, because I am telling you repeating same thing because it will help you to remember, and once you remember, it is going to be always with you, and you will not be kind of confused in national treatment and most favored nation. There is a very thin line, very thin line to understand what is national treatment and what is most favored nation, which we will be talking in some couple of minutes. Now coming to the coming to the some of the example of national treatment, as I told you that even in general agreement on tariff on trade, article 18 talks about national treatment and establishment of infant industries. Like there are some industries getting established in your country, then what kind of treatment has to be given. Article 18 of GATT also talks about provisions of national treatment, and then GATT article 20, article 21, article 9, all this talks about national treatment. For example, if we talk article 20 is like general exceptions under national treatment. As I told you that what are all the exceptions: government procurement, protecting the vulnerable industries, or protecting the art and culture of your own nation. You can have, there are some certain kind of exceptions given under this. Now article 21 is security purpose. Like if there is some kind of you cannot allow same kind of trade in defense deal. Defense deal is totally different, and it has to be dealt differently. So this is here we cannot, and WTO cannot say that okay sorry, it's violating the national treatment policy. So this is very important to understand about this. Now coming to some cases about national treatment. China value added tax on semiconductors. Okay, so this case was raised by another nation, and I'll be talking about more. So far you try to understand, pause the video, go back again, learn the national treatment and most favored nation, try to understand the difference, try to understand the advantage and disadvantage, and then come to give some kind of examples of nations. And then these are some of the important cases which is dealt by the WTO. This is dealt by WTO where all the cases are being arbitrated, all the cases are being heard. So we'll be talking about that. China value added tax on the semiconductor. Now we all know that China has become member of WTO very late. So China also got agree. China said that okay, we are going to follow all national treatment